Through the prayers of our Holy Fathers, through Jesus Christ, our God of mercy, and us and save us. Amen. Good evening. For those new here, my name is Father Joseph Swing, and I've worked in Orthodox Apologetics since 1998. I'm the founder of NFTU, True Orthodox Ecumenical News, since 2004. We've been in the apologetic space on Facebook since 2016 and on YouTube since 2018. And if you appreciate what we do here, please like and subscribe. Today we do our live Q&A session where you can get your questions answered live, as well as member requested video reviews. So let's get started. And as always, if you want to jump on stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link to the top of the chat. I'll be taking super chats from the YouTube chat, and if you want your question or comment without super chatting, I'll answer it, but you might miss it if I don't put it up. All right, so let's get started by saying hello. Father Antonio says good evening. Good evening, Father. Father Boniface says Benedicite with a member chat. Just remember, if you are a member, you get your chats on screen automatically, just like a super chat. So let's get started today. It's been an interesting week. It may not look at it because of the fact that I haven't had a chance to do clips on the video side, but I've been doing some, I've been doing some restructuring. So we have, I've kind of restarted the NFTU Substack, and also we're doing new articles on NFTU, including new members only articles, which will also be available to paid Substack subscribers. It's been busy. Church-wise, it's been crazy busy. Excuse me. I'm still kind of dealing with this congestion and stuff, so not the most fun. Let me see here. Audio is listenable, but not good quality mic. It's the same mic. What's changed is the browser and the operating system. So give me a second while I try to optimize that. Let's take a look here. So let's maximize this. Okay, first off, whoa, that's a problem. So let's fix that. 1 second. Okay, let's see if that improved things. Hold on, I'm checking because it turns out it was getting my old mic and not my current mic. So as I mentioned, I just basically redid my computer. And for the record, I probably will not be able to read emojis because I haven't installed the new emoji fonts on the system. Yeah, it was my webcam mic, and then I have my actual regular mic, my mic up here. I guess it cannot be seen, but anyway, so that mic, this is a good mic, and the other one is the not good mic. So yeah, audio is listenable, not good, better, way better, definitely better. Yeah, I switched it over to the the proper mic, so now you can hear me coughing in HD. All right, so quick recap of this week. We started with there was a question of, going on from last week, the question of the inquiry into the Roker MP. That doesn't look like it's going much of anywhere, but it is of interest. And I did put a deep dive on that on NFTU. And since then, it looks like World Orthodox, apologetic against us, has just been imploding. I mean, at this point, it looks like, for example, Orthodox Ethos is phoning it in. At this point, they're just basically saying, "Yep, well, our leaders are ecumenists." Oh well, and it was Subdeacon Ictarios of Orthodox Traditionalist Publications has been going really hard on them, and they're responding back almost glibly. There's no fight left in it. It's not like, they're just like, we admit it. It's just all humanness. Leonidas with a member chat says, have you seen the new trailer for the Moses the Black movie? I have not, but I will go looking for it. Let's take a look and see if it's any good. Can we just? Oh wait, is that going to be like they redid it? I'm afraid, because what I had heard, as I understood it, if people remember in the 90s, there was a remake of Romeo and Juliet that was done with, I want to say it was Leonardo DiCaprio, and I want to say Claire Danes, but I could be wrong. But the point is that it kept all the language, Old English, but then it put it in like a Las Vegas gangster kind of motif, and from what I heard, the Moses the Black movie is going to be similar. So let me see if we can find it, and I'll review it. I mean, I was going to talk about a question from that someone asked Father Peter Hears, because OE is kind of imploding, but well, we can do both. There's no reason we can't walk and chew gum at the same time. So let's see if we can find it. All right. Okay, I guess this might be it. Quavo Wiz Khalifa. Okay, I think this is it. Hold on. Oh, and Leonidas with a donation. Thank you so much for the $10. That gets us started on our way. I haven't even gotten to that yet. But let's take a look. And first off, we're going to add that on. So give me a second. Okay, Leonidas. And so our goal is now only 190. I'm trying to raise money to pay bills this week, as always. So it's very helpful. And this is a great start to the day, to the evening. Everyone knows how it goes. Basically, if we get to 75% of the goal, which is, at that point, $150, I can stay for an extra half hour. And if we make it to the goal, we make fun sounds and stay till 11:30. So let's take a look here and see how this is going. All right. Good evening, Father Bus. May God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Tom, thank you for that. And let's watch the trailer for St. Moses the Black and see how it looks. This looks like it's a teaser trailer that came out 13 days ago.
Well, you're free now. What's stopping you from getting out?
My feet is my feet.
What the heck?
I St. Moses the Black.
The saint who was once a gang member.
He was a gangster. Oh yeah, the most feared gangster in the land of Egypt at that time.
He who lives by the sword shall die by the sword.
Good luck with that. Everybody know I ain't no rat. If you're gonna choose a battle, tough guy, choose the right one.
What did I just watch? Now I'm even more confused. I thought that this was going to be a redoing of St. Moses' life in an urban setting, which would have been similar to the Romeo and Juliet thing from the 90s I mentioned, which I already was not a fan of. This appears to be going back and forth between the two. Oh, hey, thank you, Tom Katsafanas, for $13.99. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And give me just one moment. I don't think my browser, because I just did a new OS, and my browser, I don't think I've managed to put in all the stickers and emojis, so it's going to look really primitive today. I'll have that fixed by this week, but we definitely want to add that to the total. Thank you so much, Tom. And so we're going to just put that in for 14, and we are now at 24. So this is a great start. Guys, I think we might be staying late today. So let me just see here. I'm really appreciative, and thank you so much for helping keep the lights on. These really do help. The super chats, I don't talk enough about them because sometimes I like getting my bills paid faster, and the super chats do take the next month, but they help. This month, I'm pretty sure we should be able to cover at least all the November bills, etc. So thank you. Let me see here. Death to Compromise says hard pass. Probably he's turning himself in after reforming. I still don't understand it. I'm like, because it looks like it's talking about modern characters talking about St. Moses the Black. which really confuses me because now, I mean, are we talking like a time travel thing? Are we talking this is just a narration of his life to modern people who are not doing well? I just don't know. The Voice of Truth asks, can I ask what sect group of True Orthodox you follow? Are you a Matthewite or something else? As I've said, every time somebody asks, I'm a member of the Autonomous Metropolia of North and South America and the British Isles, which has a Floridite history. Obviously, in modern terms, from what people refer to as Matthewite thinking, which is that the new calendars are strictly without grace, that's pretty much everybody now. Like nobody disagrees with them on it. They were right. Okay, so that like I don't know if that helps. If you want to call in and ask questions about my jurisdiction or anything like that personally, or True Orthodoxy in general, please do. I mean, obviously you are interested in learning about us, so I welcome you to just jump on the stream and ask some questions. Dr. Compromise says probably telling the story of the police detectives. I have no idea. It's strange to me, but I mean, we can watch it again and try to make sense of it. I'll slow it down or something. Hold on. Let me just see here. Because there was, I mean, I'll just put it at normal speed. There was just a lot to process there, I guess. Because, okay, we're going to break it down. Okay, so this is just an urban setting, generic.
Free now. What's stopping you from getting out?
Okay, so we got this guy who I guess has a wife or a girlfriend or something, and he is in jail. I don't know who that's supposed to be. Is that supposed to be?
Feet is my feet.
Okay, now that there, like, come on, that doesn't make sense.
What's stopping you from getting out?
My feet is my feet.
Okay, now this is total scene switch. We're now in the desert, and there are what appear to be monastics, and a guy with swords and stuff.
I say Moses the Black.
Now, you see, this is where I'm confused, because this guy that's getting the card seems to be the main character, but he is also getting the icon of St. Moses the Black, which would tell me that he obviously is not St. Moses the Black. So this is a modern setting thing. You can tell by the silverware, and he's getting this paper icon. But
The saint who was once a gang member.
He was a gangster. Moses the Black.
The saint who was once a gang
okay, so I'm going to assume that this is Moses the Black. Okay?
member.
He was a gangster.
Okay, then there's just some gangster scenes that have nothing to do with the desert.
Oh yeah, the most.
Oh, but they do shoot down an Orthodox priest. That's interesting. Hold on, I want to see that again. Not because I like watching, priests get shot. Okay, so that there's okay, yep. He looks like an Orthodox priest, and
Oh yeah, the most feared gangster in the land of Egypt at that time.
they shoot a priest. This is going to be great. And so,
He who lives by the sword shall die.
okay, now you see we keep going back and forth. I guess these people died by the sword, and
The sword.
okay, and then there's a crazy white guy who's like laughing.
Good luck with that. Everybody know I ain't no.
Got to include a crazy white guy. And then a boxing ring.
rat. If you're gonna choose a battle, tough guy, choose the right one.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna be honest. That was a lot of flash, and I can't make sense of any of what has just happened. It could be an interesting movie. I just don't know if it is about Moses the Black or it's a story where St. Moses is just kind of instrumental. Maybe he's a type of the story that plays out. I don't know. I'd have to see. There's got to be more. And when is this supposed to come out? They said an upcoming American crime drama film. Okay, I I guess we'll learn more as it goes. So let's continue on. Let's see here. And so, as always, this is our live Q&A session. If you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment or issue a challenge, just click the link at the top of the chat. Wait time if I'm in the middle of talking about something. All right, so then, as I mentioned, this was something that was given to me by someone a couple of days ago, and I haven't watched it yet, so it's a live reaction. I'm gonna just put it on. This is a question to the Father Peter Hears of the OE, the Orthodox Ethos. So let's share that and take a look here.
Father Bless, if it's off topic but important, the beloved.
Maybe I can make it a little slower. 1.25 is tough even with Father Peter.
Wise Elder Gabriel of Mount Athos says that one shouldn't receive Holy Communion from an ecumenist priest. On the other hand, some people who, although condemning the heresy, wouldn't say that one should stop receiving Holy Communion from an ecumenist priest. Can you elaborate on that, please? Well, yes, of course. And I actually been several times to see Elder Gabriel and the fathers down the road from him at the cell of Panaguda and the other fathers who are all disciples of St. Paisios. So Elder Gabriel.
Hold on. Okay. And Father Bonner from the member chat says, looks like there are opportunities on our present violent culture. Opportunizing. Okay. Yeah, it would seem so. But I wonder how good of a story, how good of a life of a saint can it be if they have to mix in all of this modern elements? Is St. Moses the Black just a minor part of the story? I don't know.
Was talking about well-known, tested, unabashed ecumenists who are pushing the heresy. I think that's who we have.
Okay, so I like how he's kind of separating this out. So what he's saying is the ones you should avoid are really, really famous ecumenists, like real out there ecumenists who are doing things like giving blessings with the Pope, like the ecumenical patriarch or something that he's under. Okay.
Has in mind, and he has, in his context, he has the particular leadership above him in mind, and he has ceased commemoration of them for that purpose. Now, there are many different contexts in the church today. There are many different churches. There are many different bishops.
But he ceased commemoration of the patriarch. So okay, so this elder has ceased commemoration, I assume, of the patriarch and the state church, etc.
There are many different places, so you cannot generalize, and you can't. It's not easy to say. In every case, this person is an ecumenist in the sense of pushing ecumenism, defending ecumenism.
Okay, so you don't have to believe in ecumenism. I mean, you can believe in ecumenism. You just don't. You shouldn't be evangelical about it. So people who are pushing ecumenism, those are the real problems, not the people who are just actively doing ecumenism.
Confessing ecumenism. The zealot ecclesiology would have us, the not patristic ecclesiology and undiscerning ecclesiology of the people on the far right who've fallen off into a zeal not according to knowledge.
A lot of people say that that's you, Father Peter, but I assume you're talking about us.
And unfortunately, one of my old coworkers is one of the greatest creators of the hothouse effect today in the church in America. And this zeal.
Great. Who is he talking about? Who is this person?
Not according to knowledge, which is speaking out of time and out of turn and without anybody asking him and all the rest. So God help him. He's not very helpful to the struggle. But in any case, he's right.
Is he talking about Subdeacon Nectarios? I feel like he might be talking about Subdeacon Nectarios. Oh, Voice of Truth joins the stage. Welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Did you want to wait until after the review? Oh, yeah. Everyone's saying definitely Subdeacon Nectarios.
I can
ahead.
wait if that's fine.
Yeah, okay. Just give me a second then. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, so Leonidas says I think it's about a former gangster who converts to Orthodoxy and takes Moses the Black as his patron saint. That could be interesting. Okay, so it's a conversion story. Not quite what I was expecting, but it could be worse.
He thinks. So that's all that matters. But so the zealot ecclesiology would have it that there's communicating vessels, like in a plumbing system, all the water ultimately is connected, right? From the source, it comes into the house and it goes all throughout the house. And so if you're in communion over on that side of the house in the Church of Georgia with the Patriarch of Georgia, and he's in communion with the Patriarch of Alexandria or whatever, and you're in the bottom of Africa down there, because they're all in communion through the local churches and through the patriarchs. That means we're all humanists. That means that you got to break with everybody. You got to walk away from everything.
You don't have to walk away from everybody.
You
don't have to walk away from everybody, just all the ecumenists. But I think his water analogy is great. If you poison the water in one part of the house and you poison it from the source, the water gets poisoned all over the house. So this is great. This is great. All right, so let me see here. We're gonna try to speed them up, I guess. How much have we got here? Okay,
communion with all these different bishops and local churches, and then they talk about humanist churches, or they're talking about like modernist churches. And I say to myself, well, okay, the church is Christ. The local church, the divine liturgy that happens in this place in this time, that's Christ, right? That's not something else, right? And so can it be an ecumenist church? Can a church be an ecumenist? I mean, a human being can promote ecumenism. He can teach ecumenism. This
is silly. In the first place, of course, churches can be ecumenist, they can be uniate, etc., and many such communities form. The real question is, and I think what he's trying to say is the whole church compromised? And I would say no. There's true Orthodox churches throughout the world because of this, and so those who are preserving the faith are the true Orthodox throughout the world. Past that, you're just holding on to institutions. So yeah, let's see. So this was funny that he called out OTP here, and I mean, the funny part is that OTP has been straight up attacking some of the things he's been saying live, and like pointing out the hypocrisy of things like blessing people with the Pope, and then all of a sudden, what blew my mind is that like Orthodox ethos started saying things like, "Yeah, so what?" And I'm like, wait. You can't say "so what" when you have Bartholomew and Pope Leo in Rome saying, you can't just say "so what" to it. Okay. We lost Voice of Truth. Hopefully he comes back. Sometimes that just happens with stuff with the audio.
We mean by that, we mean an ecclesiological heresy. We mean someone who's clearly denying the oneness, the holiness, the Catholicity, the apostolicity of the church, right? The one holy Catholic church. They're denying that. It's a very particular thing. There are many errors today.
Well, we're not denying one holy Catholic and apostolic church. We're denying that you're in the one holy Catholic and apostolic church. There's a huge difference in those two statements. All right. Voice of Truth, you've been waiting a while, and we still have 5 minutes to go. What's your questions?
Well, I have my own friend himself. His name is Sergius. He's also true Orthodox. He's a member of the Russian Orthodox Autonomous Churches.
Which one? Russian ROAC, you said, or
yeah, ROAC. They schism from
they didn't schisms not properly, not a verb. They've only introduced it recently because of the influence of the diorites. Really, it's not actually, you're supposed to say entered into schism. And who did they enter into schism from?
Modern ROCOR.
Yeah, that's not historically correct. I mean, I would ask your friend Sergius to explain, because that was, I don't know if you're aware of this. ROAC is one of the weird cases where that was not actually, like, they didn't break off from ROCOR. They were literally built by ROCOR and given bishops by ROCOR and then broken from ROCOR, which they argued was for reasons of geography and because they needed to take care of things locally that ROCOR couldn't administrate from abroad. So yeah, it's a little more confusing than that. That said, I mean, is he an American?
No, he's Canadian.
Okay, well, and ROAC in America has its current issues right now, but there are other Russian True Orthodox all over the countries and so on and so forth, and in Russia. So what's your question?
It's just on his position, because, of course, he would say all world Orthodox are graceless. But I see like this constant pattern in most ROCOR saints, like a refusal to like say this themselves, even like within Father Seraphim Rose, he says in his letter 253 on Palm Sunday, like they refuse to make any statements in like condemnation to the world Orthodox, but choose instead to leave their judgment to a future council of bishops in a potential free Russia.
Uh-huh.
So it's just confusing me. like how he himself can like hold to world cores like ecclesiology and like their epistemology and everything, but like reject this part of it.
Yeah. Let me see if I can make this a little bit clearer. First off, most of Father Seraphim's writings were in the 1970s, when these questions were very much alive. Take, for example, in Greece, the new calendarists were in a horrible position. So the point is that that's the first thing. The second thing is Father Seraphim in many places, some of which have been edited out, like Father Peter Here's was where you can watch that video. Um, have been, his views were edited out, and his actual positions, which was that he considered he was in communion with the True Orthodox in Rokor, in the Greek Old Calendarists, and with the Catacomb Church in Russia, part of which from which Roak derives. So, in that sense, you have to understand that even though he's saying that maybe he's saying some people are holding a position that maybe this needs to be resolved by a council, he's still speaking from within the boat. And by the boat, I mean in terms of the saving faith. So the point is, it's not like you can't extrapolate that position, which is something that a lot of people in the modern period are doing, and then say, well, that is our position, because it's not. Father Seraphim was clearly writing against innovating in ecumenist jurisdictions. Take, for example, the OCA or the Greek Archdiocese. These are the two of the largest ones, and they're not recognized, and we're not recognized as fully Orthodox by Father Seraphim. And so it's gotten really interesting this week, because now Rokor MP has opened up a commission to claim that they're going to try to see about glorifying Father Seraphim, which will then really blow things into the open, because he literally condemned a lot of the work of the innovators, the new calendarists, the ecumenists, etc. What do you think about that?
I do see in other writings, I think some of his writings do contrast. Maybe it's like he gains certain opinions at certain times, and then like he changes his opinion.
No. He does. First off, he doesn't change his opinion. Second off, we're not talking about opinions that he changed his mind on paper. His belief and understanding was that he was in communion with the Russian Church abroad and with the old calendarists of Greece. He stated that repeatedly. That's not an accidental thing. That was literally the policy of the Rokor at the time.
I've heard a voice recording of him. It's like he's giving a sermon, and he's speaking of like saying anyone who says like there's no grace within the world Orthodox are fanatics, and like he says other things of the such. He says he holds like communion with. In that same recording, he does say he holds communion with the True Orthodox of Greece, but he says like in the same, of course, like he thinks all who say like there's no grace within them are, of course, fanatics.
Well, but again, that comes down to a personal opinion that was common in the 1970s, that some people in Rokor, the official teaching was that they had never made any decisions outside of their own jurisdiction, that is within the Russian sphere. And so they were leaving those questions open. But they were also, in many cases, considered innovators, depending on which holy hierarch you're talking about. They were not always treated as I would not even say equals, but as the whole sick members concept, etc. Like that didn't really so much exist in the 70s. It was really a product of the 1980s, and it disappeared pretty quickly. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say here is, if you cherry pick anyone, you can get what approximates to a position. But then you have to ask yourself whether you're being honest with yourself about what that saint or that holy cleric is saying. And I think that when we get to the point of censoring out the churches he was in communion with from books, when you get to the point where you're trying to downplay who he really believed he was in communion with and what his ideals ultimately were, I think it's kind of making a not so honest presentation of the man. And I think it's something that I highly recommend reviewing in your own case. Now, granted, I can understand if a person looks and says, well, where's the Russian church? And, the Russian church is like one or two parishes. It can seem confusing. But that isn't the case in America, at least. There are lots of true Orthodox Russian churches that are huge. And there's a number of people that are still confessing the faith. There are still 7,000 that haven't bent the knee to bow. So the point is, I mean, that may not be your friend's experience, but, if you're looking for a Russian true Orthodox church, I mean, there's a few that can be recommended. I just say look at the maps on the bottom of the descriptions. I don't know if I put that in this one, but I will fix that if I haven't. Your thoughts?
It's not really that. I don't think the problem with the numbers isn't like a big deal to me, really. It's just that, of course, my friend thinks all those other Russian true Orthodox churches are false, and
That's a specific position of Archbishop Andrei of Roac. Not even the rest of the Roac Synod holds that. So that's just an individual extreme position, and I feel kind of bad that's the position a lot of people are holding, but they don't need to, and so I would recommend that they don't. Does that help?
Yes, it does a little bit.
Okay. Did you have any other questions for me?
Are you familiar with the Matthewites at all?
Yeah.
Then they're the major group I see everywhere in true Orthodoxy, and
I don't know that they're the largest. They I mean, in the U.S., they're certainly not, but they do have a presence in a beautiful cathedral in New York, for example.
They venerate this a saint named Miriam. So
Mother Miriam.
Yeah, Miriam Sokoliotis.
Sokoliotis. Yeah, she was an abbess of the largest one of the largest female monasteries in Greece, in Karatea, and they basically they tried to falsely charge her with murder because they thought that once Spiridon Vlachis had taken power, they thought they had a good chance of trying to prosecute her. The whole purpose of it, at first they were trying to say it was like importing olive oil illegally, but the whole goal was that they wanted the giant property. And so she went through a grueling court case, died in jail, but she had managed to transfer the abbacy to another nun. And then basically, she passed on in prison. So many consider her a martyr.
My only problem with this, the overwhelming consensus of scholars is that she actually did do these things.
There's first off, okay, voice of truth. Let's be honest with each other, okay?
Yep.
Can we be honest?
Of course.
Right. Please do not try to gotcha things when you don't have the facts straight. That was absolutely wrong. To say something like the overwhelming consensus of scholars on what was a crime from the 19th, there's no consensus of scholars. There were no scholars. There were a few legal experts. And on top of that, if you actually look at the case files, you'll realize that, in fact, the original crazy charges they wanted to put on with, 50 people who died of typhus, they wanted to nail her on murder charges for a disease that they had no cure for. Do you see why I might be a little annoyed with using rhetorical flourish in a case you might not understand too well?
Yeah.
Just keeping it real. But the point is, yeah, so she was railroaded, and even other true Orthodox, not just the Matthewites, but even many Florinites since, agree that she was innocent. And that's more and more likely the obvious conclusion. But she did die in prison, 70 years ago. So there have been cases where Greek TV has used the case and made fictional versions for like their law versions of Law and Order and stuff like that. But that's just the way the media generally mocks Christians, and so I don't take it too seriously.
And my final question would be, do the True Orthodox venerate Saint Gabriel of Georgia?
Gabriel of Georgia died right before or right after. I think it was right after Georgia leaving the WCC, which is when a number of the monasteries that wanted to stay True Orthodox kind of separated from him because they could see through it. So I would say he's up in the air. He's another one of the drunk. He's another one of the drunk elders. And when I say that, I don't mean that he was drunk. I mean that like he and Bishop Gennady Sakach, etc., who was a catacomb bishop. What they would do is they would cover themselves in vodka so that they would smell drunk to the authorities. So I think he's an interesting case, but he did accept a house from Gabriel, from Elia of Georgia at the end of his life. Or not even at the end of his life, it was a few years before he passed. So that's a tricky one. But I would say that, in terms of his ethos for a lot of his life, he sounded right. And then Sing Tugma Sergius says, who's this saying he knows me? So I guess Voice of Truth, if someone is saying that he did. All I'm saying is that one's a bit of a harder case because of the closeness of the time frame. I don't know that he sold out anyone though, so we'll have to see. Let me see here. Let's see the comments here. Father Seraphim's not a saint in Roac. Yeah, I know. Dr. Compromise says, I personally think they disappeared some of the platinum recordings. That's just me. In his writings, Father Seraphim also displayed it was an unfolding situation, so he speculated on potential future situations. God Save Us says, what? Eater of Bug says, Breaking Bad, illegal of olive oil. Trust the scholarship, Gwim. Ascendancy says, a new calendar archpriest once made a presentation a few years ago saying that the story comes from Mother Miriam was fake. Also, she isn't canonized by the Matthewites. I think she is recognized as a saint in Cartagena, I think at least one or two dioceses, but I'm not sure. The Ascendancy says, I had heard Rocco Argafango is the only synod to have formally recognized him as a saint, though I could be wrong. Technically, the Georgians were walled off until the 90s. Yeah, well, semi that way. Remember that Patrick Elia was ahead at one point a World Council of Churches president, and then he pulled out in 2007. That Russian Orthodox says, I personally love his story. Yeah, he's very interesting. He's a very interesting elder. So I would say the jury's out, but I understand why people do venerate him.
But yeah, that's it. Thank you.
No problem. And you're welcome anytime. Just call in whenever you have a question.
Yes, sir. God bless.
All right. Take care. God bless you. All right, so apparently the map has not been copied in. One moment while I go to the YouTube and fix this. This shouldn't take me too long. Okay, almost done here. Okay. That is fixed. All right. Let me see here. Orthodox traditionalist says, someone rang me? Oh, yeah, we were watching the Peter Pierce video. Latin boy, refresh. It should be there. Leonidas said not officially, no. Yeah, you got mentioned by this Father Peter here. Well, let's put that back up if I didn't destroy it. Voice of Truth said, this is Damascus. I've been looking into True Orthodoxy recently. I want to ask in regards to your position. So yeah, That's where we are now. So let's see if we can get back to the old Father Peter here's video. Give me a second. I think we were around here. All right, so let me put him back. All right, just a reminder again. Just to let you know, please help keep the lights on. Support us by subscribing or donating at NFTU.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR, or on GiveSendGo. Just take a look in the description. Our current goal is at 176. We've got 24 in the queue. So thank you so much for that. But if we can get to, at least 75% of the goal, I will be very happy. And it will be a lot easier. My life will be a lot easier. Not much easier, but enough. Yeah. Let's see. Ascendancy says, yeah, that's what I meant. Not officially. I heard GSC Stephanos is hesitant to formally canonize saints in their synods. They are unsure of the reaction from other synods and potential communion. And they don't want to curtail formal communions with other synods, etc., and would rather wait till later. That's very true. So let's get back to this.
Myself, well, okay, the church is Christ. The local church, the divine liturgy that happens in this place in this time, that's Christ, right? That's not something else, right? And so can it be an ecumenist church? Can a church be an ecumenist? I mean, yes. A human being can promote ecumenism. Yep. He can teach ecumenism. The ecumenism, what do we mean by that? We mean an ecclesiological heresy. We mean someone who's clearly denying the oneness, the holiness, the Catholicity, the apostolicity of the church, right?
Your leaders do that.
One holy Catholic church. They're denying that. It's a very
we're not denying, and I did say this because I wasn't sure when to come back in the video, but to reiterate, no true Orthodox denies the existence of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. They just deny that the existence of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church is in communion with him. And it's not in communion with him. So, okay. Oh, thank you. Hold on. And I got something from D. And so we are now at, I just got a $5 donation to help keep the lights on. Thank you so much, D. As you know, I keep names secret unless they're open in public and asked to be open in public. Otherwise, I try to keep it quiet. So we are now at $29 to the $200 goal. So we are down to $171. If we can get down to $50, that's 75%. We will stay it out till 11 o'clock. And if we can break the goal of 200, we will stay until 11:30. So there we go. Thank you so much, D, for that $5 donation. Much appreciated. So let's continue on.
There are many errors today in terms of modernism and secularization and aspects of the ecumenical movement, bad judgments. Father Pierre from Rose even criticized somebody like Father George Slawowski, who in other respects he seemed to have some respect for and honored. But in some ways he said, well, he's maybe not that perceptive of the effects and the impacts of ecumenism. And so you can say there's a whole spectrum of orthodoxy to heterodoxy in the question of ecumenism. You heard tonight in one of these stories that did you remember the first story we said? St. John Chrysostom had these people in his church, but they were in the church, communing in the church of St. John Chrysostom, but they had the ideas of Macedonians, right? And the husband repented. The wife didn't repent. And then that miracle happened. She was there in communion. She had heretical ideas. So there are many people today who are pushing ideas which are not patristic. They're not the patristic consensus. On the topic of reception, we've talked about this many times. There are many people, very good people, friends of mine, who don't really get the full 100% of the patristic vision. And, they say, maybe I don't. Okay, we'll see. God will determine in due time. And that's how it usually works. It takes time, maybe even a generation or two. And then we see through God's providence.
What kind of ridiculous cope is this? Honestly, I really want to understand that. He's just basically like, oh, they'll get to orthodoxy in their own time. Sometimes it can take generations. I feel like I guess I have to remind people that this happened 2 weeks ago and has been happening for so many years. And it seems like people are just not getting it. They're, it's it gets tiresome and like fake and ridiculous. And it just, people are like, what's he doing? What's he doing? I don't know. I feel like it has not been properly burned into your mind yet as to it's this is like kind of what's happening. Like this was 2 weeks ago. This is the Pope in Constantinople blessing the people with the ecumenical patriarch. Like, and so Father Peter could be like, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a few generations. Who knows? This has been happening for 50 years. Okay? No. 60 years. So just stop. Stop with that. It's so not honest. It's not honest. And I don't appreciate it because he's not being honest here. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Orthodox traditionalist says he assumes we think they're churches. Absolutely right. Sentence 7, which is why a lot of the people in the synod were opposed to the official canonization of St. Matthew, which occurred 2 years ago. I didn't know it was only 2 years ago. I thought it was longer than that. But okay, cool. That's with a member chat. Remember, if you are a member, you can get your chats on the screen live. Taco Bell, yum. Woof. Father, I sent you an email a few days ago about the church in Montreal, if it's a good TO church or not. Whenever you get a chance, send you a link to their website too. Tom, I will look at my email. I did not see that, so I will go look for that. And I will actually, maybe I can do that now. Let me see if I can get to it now. Hold on. Okay, let's see. Aha. Church in Montreal, Canada. Church of St. Marcos Eugenicos. Here is the website. About us. Always about us is handy. Okay. Markello. Petros. Demetrius. Metropolitan Demetrius. Oh, it's Metropolitan Demetrius, Tom. There he is. Yeah. He's a great bishop. That should be fine. I'm assuming that they are probably then under Metropolitan Moses because he's in, I don't know, maybe they were directly under America, but I'm not sure because it depends on how close they are. But yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this. So as far, that's close to you, go for it. Seems like a nice parish. So let's go back to
how things shake out. So we'll see. But in my poor estimation, they're not getting the whole patristic consensus, and they're getting things wrong. And you could say, well, that isn't.
Okay, let me answer some some stuff. So yeah, it is that church is fine. That is True Orthodox. Dr. Compromise says I found my Listovka this week. Cool. Here's is relying on his followers. This is Orthodox Traditionalist Publication says here's is relying on his followers to remain brain dead and clueless. As soon as they develop an ounce of critical thinking, they realize that here's is a YouTube guru who is just grifting. Yes. Eater of Bug says, is that Metropolitan Demetrius? And yes, it is. And thumbs up from Leonidas. I'm sorry, my emojis look like they are from 2006. Father, could you verify my account on the cafe? My user is Anthrico17. Give me one moment, please. This is also something you should know if you are trying to get registered at the Frosinus Cafe. Just contact me about it. Proceed. Okay, give me a second. Okay, I just see. Okay, I see this. Give me 1 second. Okay, you are activated. So there you go. Let's see here. Yep. Okay, very good. So let's get back to Father Peter making excuses. I should save this picture right here. He looks like he's still making excuses in it too. I'm gonna keep that. Okay, save that. And
humanistic stance. Wouldn't be wrong to say that, and yet it would be very undiscerning to say that's an ecumenist. I must break communion with that person. St. Nicodemus points to this in his canons, and he says about ceasing commemoration of an erring hierarch. He says, if you think he could be corrected, don't break communion rashly. If he doesn't promote that teaching publicly, don't break communion rashly.
Need I hammer this? Need I hammer this one more time? That this was 2 weeks ago and has been going on for over 60 years. So let's just stop, Father Peter. Stop lying to yourself. Like, please. You're only hurting yourself here, my friend.
So there is discernment in all things, right? So we don't have the zealot ecclesiology of the communing vessels before a council. When the church has come down and said this new teaching, this heretical teaching, these very...
Who's gonna hold the council, Father Peter? Who's gonna hold it? If everybody in your communion at its leadership is ecumenist, who is going to hold the council? There is no one to hold the council. That is why the structures exist as they do, so that the church can heal and reform and rebuild herself, not stick with the rotted heretical institutions.
Areas teachings rightly divide the word truth in the council, like the Second Ecumenical Council, or heretics. This is a heretical teaching. You must not hold this to be an Orthodox Christian. Yes, we've laid down the one holy Catholic Apostolic Church, but the various versions or ideas or theories were not laid down in the 2nd century. They were not addressed by the 2nd century. The Second Ecumenical Council in the 4th century. So we have to address them in council. That's how the church deals with healing these.
The worst part of the heresy of ecumenism is that it is not only a clear and flagrant denial of the church, but you find echoes of it in the holy canons, which means that, the thing that he doesn't want to admit is that there are already canons prohibiting the ecumenists' activity on the books, and they don't care, like this. That is considered a violation of at least 3 different canons talking about praying with heretics. And here they are, blessing people together in the heart, the historical heart of Orthodoxy in the Phanar. This is not a hinting situation. This is not a maybe he doesn't know what he's doing situation. They know what they're doing. They're doing it in your face, and they don't care. Orthodox traditionalist says this part is ridiculous. I don't know how Hears has the audacity to call himself a priest when he blatantly lies. I mean, I don't know how he has the audacity to imply that what he's doing isn't just fake and not honest.
Wounds and these errors in council. You've got to work for a council. If you break off into
Who's gonna run the council?
little sex over here, 14
Little sex over here. We've got millions of people, Father, and the best part is they're all Orthodox.
different old calendars, jurisdictions.
And we'll work out our problems, but at least we're not in communion with heretics. None of us. None of us.
That's not the patristic way to
Oh, no, it is. Historically, actually, it's happened many times. Might I recommend a certain book by a certain subdeacon Nectarios of Orthodox Traditionalist Publications? Because it directly answers this claim, Father Peter, in hundreds of pages. So, yeah, stop it. Stop it.
work toward an ecumenical council or a local council to condemn the heresy.
We've already had local councils to condemn the heresy. We've even had intercommunion between different local councils, and that is why there are true Orthodox communions now that do not recognize heresy of ecumenism. Lindorfer says, let me see. Yeah, Orthodox Traditionalist says, read what my HOR says on page 152. Father Joseph St. Nicodemus says before council. I will do that after I read this comment. Ecumenists hold to all the previously anathematized heresies wrapped into one new world order faith. Do we need to re-anathematize what the heterodox believe and what the ecumenists align themselves with? We do every Orthodoxy Sunday already. So it's just, yeah, he's using the word patristic like it's marketing again. Like he calls us unpatristic. It's like we're not the name brand. Like the term patristic has a meaning, and he doesn't seem to care about it. Romagata says, question: if a layman prays with canona, asking for a friend, with a heretic, you can pray for them. You can lead prayers where they're behind, like you can bless a meal, but you can't like join in prayer, like let us pray, etc. You can't do that. By the way, I will add that I can't find my glasses right now, so I gotta pray to find them. So my reading is not great. Okay. Okay. 152. Yeah, Saint Nicodemus, this is very familiar to me. Basically, if you look on page 152, he answers Father Peter directly, saying, if, however, the said presidents are heretics and are preaching the heresy openly, and on this account, those subject to them separate themselves, and even though it be before there has been canonical, conciliar, or synodical trial concerning the heresy, but are even deemed to be deserve fitting honor as Orthodox Christians, since not only have they caused no schism in the church on account of their separation, but have freed themselves from the church from the schism and heresy of their pseudo-bishops. And, the term pseudo-bishop is telling there, because they're not real bishops. So that tells you almost everything you need to know. I mean, if Father Peter wants to be upset about that, like he is now, like
undermining that effort. All right. So practically, lack of discernment and a patristic wisdom is not apparent.
patristic, it's just a branding here.
Here. So coming back to your question, does Elder Gabriel or any elder, let's not make it personal, there are elders like Elder Gabriel, others who teach this, is he telling us that we should determine, and therefore, like, what is the criteria there? Did he lay down criteria for us to say, well, this guy's in a...
Well, to put context here at the beginning of this discussion, this Elder Gabriel, I guess, is a non-commemorator now, so he no longer commemorates the Patriarchate of Constantinople. So yeah, he's apparently not happy with this, but he kind of referred to him as a friend in the beginning, but clearly he doesn't agree with him.
Ecumenist, but this bishop's not an ecumenist. Yes and no. All of it presupposes discernment, right? You got to see and look at this particular bishop and this particular church and this thing. And
this is, I hate to remind him, but this is not a discernment question when it's this obvious. It just isn't. So, whatever. I think it's silly, but anyway, we'll continue.
you've got to make an assessment. I think in his context, which is really what he's speaking to, he's not trying to teach the whole universe and talk about what people should do in Romania or in Georgia or in Bulgaria. I don't think that's what he's assuming there. He's saying, look, these are...
Romagata says, if I did it as a layman, prayed with a heretic at their church, then let's say, what will happen to me? If you are going to if you're going to, a traditional True Orthodox church, a parish, etc., I just call your priest. I just say, I didn't know, please, if I could have a confession. That's it. Just don't make a big deal out of it. The bigger a deal you make of it, because I don't think you were probably doing it out of any malice or because you were like, I want to join false churches to the truth or anything. So I would just go to the priest and just confess it. Be like, I showed up at this church or whatever happened. I'm no great spiritual father, so I'm not going to pry into your business and stuff. But I would just say, talk to your priest. No, the canons say that if you persist in it, that's my point. Like, you just sounded like you did something accidentally. But the canons make clear, and they're really talking about, like, the actual penalties are for priests and bishops, where they flat out say they should be suspended, deposed, excommunicated, etc. Well, just suspended, deposed if they excommunicated if they keep it up. But so as a layperson, there's more obviously leeway. So I would say I would just go to your priest. So that's what the canons aren't specific on lay people. That doesn't excuse you, however. That would mean that it still is something you shouldn't do, if that helps. And I hope it does. Okay, so we are now in the first. We're now getting into the second hour. As a quick reminder, help keep the lights on. Support us by subscribing or donating at NFTU.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR, or on Give, Send, Go. Just look in the description. Or you can also send super chats. It would help. Either way helps the show at this time of the month, because this is where we have to start getting things together for the bills. And right now, our current goal, 171. We have 29 that we've put towards a goal of 200, so we have 171 to go. If we can get there by 10:30, God willing, we can get to 175, then we will keep the show going until 11. And if we can get to the total, we'll keep it going till 11:30. So once again, thank you so much for those who have donated. Please help us keep the lights on. It really helps. And of course, if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment or issue a challenge or tell me I'm wrong, click the link to the top of the chat on YouTube and the link in Twitter, in X. Romagata says, thank you. My friend wanted to know. Totally understand. Just tell your friend to go to a priest. It'll be fine. And so let me see here. So let's finish up with Father Peter.
Principles. This is what I'm doing. This is how I think we should deal with this. This is how we should protect ourselves and also struggle for the unity of the church. And so if you have somebody over there who's bareheaded preaching heresy, avoid him. Do not commune from his hand. As much, in my understanding.
Are you including the ecumenical patriarchate in that? Because there's this. This was 2 weeks ago, and it's been happening for 7 years. And I bring this up because of the fact that he's part of St. Anthony's Monastery. That's under the ecumenical patriarchate. Like, who is he kidding? Who is he kidding? Honestly. But what are you gonna do? All right, so let's finish up with him.
Standing as much to protect yourself from what he teaches, which is a question of spiritual, walking the narrow spiritual life, and also to not encourage him and support the further teaching of the heresy. As much pedagogy.
Whoa, gotta interrupt Father Peter here because thank you so much, PG. Let's take a look here. And so I'm going to add P to the total $25 donation via PayPal. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hold on. And actually, he was also on Cash App. So thank you so much. And if you want to do super chats, again, even though YouTube takes 30%, they really do help. So if you want to do that, that's something that, I'm very happy. Yeah, he is a de facto priest of the EP. That's correct, because he's not a serving priest, so he's just, I assume, in the altar, sitting it out with the other priests. But he's at an EP monastery, so yeah, he's sort of under the row core, but in effect, they kind of, with the the legal nuances that they put on, they basically kind of left him as a priest of the EP, which is what he kind of is at this point, because that's where he celebrates. Orthodox traditionally says row core threw him out. Well, yeah, row core and P threw him out. Well, no other row core wanted him, so I mean, they probably would if he went. All you have to do is make a face like that and be like, "Please, let me in," and they'd let him in. I think they would. I think they'd be. I think they'd forgive him, because he's being ridiculous.
Logical as it is a question of spiritual protection. So there's several things going on in that stance. I agree that it's beneficial on a very basic pedagogical and spiritual level for Orthodox Christians who understand and see to say, I'm not going to go into one of these sectarian groups. I'm not going to start my own church. I'm not going to go and live in a hole somewhere, but I'm also not going to just walk around and indiscriminately act as if nothing's wrong. I'm going to stand in my time and place in my parish. I'm going to witness to the faith. I'm going to avoid giving the occasion for sin and making it seem like it doesn't matter if you're an ecumenist or not. In other words, you teach the heretical, ecclesiological heresy of ecumenism, not just somebody who went to a meeting with a Protestant. That's not ecumenism, right? It has to take on the flesh, theologically speaking, of the heresy. It has to be lived.
I feel so bad. He did so good last week, where he finally realized that there was a point where you can wall off. And we were supposed to put together a little montage of the review that we had done as a clip. And then he goes and says this stuff and just ruins everything. By the way, we're now at a goal of 146 with a current of 54. 54, we're trying to get up to 150, and then we'll go on till 11. And if we can break the goal, we will go on till 11:30. So thank you so much for your generosity and for your assistance. Yeah, he was in the Church of Greece, New Calendar Church of Greece, Ascendancy 7 says, transferred to the MP, and then tried to go into row core, and then a couple of bishops said they didn't receive him after he was left by the MP in America, canonically irregular. Yes, he's stuck in limbo of sorts, basically, and I'm starting to think that maybe he likes being in this position because it allows him no accountability. Like, I used to think that maybe this was uncomfortable to him, but I'm starting to think that maybe this is actually where he's happiest, because really he's accountable to no one, and no one's taking care of him, and he's that exactly. Orthodox tradition says he's not stuck in limbo. He chooses now not to find a bishop. Yeah, and that is, it's somebody's task to suspend him. It's somebody's task to take him to, exactly. Orthodox Traditionalist Publication says he answers to no one, which is what he wants. I think that I'm really starting to get of that school. He could fix this in a number of ways. Maybe he's choosing not to. Like, maybe this gives him the freedom. Now he doesn't need a bishop to go on his crusade, against ecumenism in the ecumenist church, because there's no one to discipline him. Wretch 7469 says he definitely wants to be in the position he's in. He can join pretty much any diocese with a canonical release. Well, that's the problem. Nobody wants to give him one, and I think that's kind of what he prefers. So he could ask for a canonical release from a number of people, but I don't know that he has. So in any case, very strange, very strange. Don't forget, if you want to jump on stream to ask a question, make a comment, issue a challenge, you want to go full fight mode, click the link at the top of the chat, or click the StreamYard link in the YouTube chat. And so let's see here. He has met a number of priests, so he's liked among many clergy and a few bishops in global orthodoxy, but he's stuck of sorts. I don't know how this process is going, but he did say he was trying to fix it. I don't know. Orthodox traditionalist says the reason he chooses now not to find a bishop after all these years is because all the bishops are ecumenist. It's okay for everyone else to be under a heretic bishop, but he will never accept that. Yeah, this is convenient for him. In a sense, he is now his own, he's now kind of his own semi-bishop, and he can do whatever he wants, which is sad, but it's not right, and it's not canonical order.
And taught and not just somebody made an error, right? There are people who make errors all the time. Doesn't make them into a leader of heresy. So there's much here that demands a particular application in time and space in your particular church, in your particular parish, in your particular time to see how should I walk, right? Discernment. It is the greatest of the virtues. There's no.
So in other words, you should not be judging the EP, blessing with the Pope. You shouldn't be judging ecumenists. What you need to do is focus on yourself and that you don't become the heretic that these people have become. It's nonsense. Who's guiding you? It's prelest. It's crazy.
Substitute for it. You've got to have discernment. You've got to have a spiritual father. You've got to see how you're going to walk in each case and work for the upbuilding of the church, work for the overcoming of the heresy, but not by further division and further Pharisaical condemnations and further rejection of holy elders and saints, which is what we see going on among certain people today, which is tragedy, delusional and tragic. So be careful on that temptation on the right and also on the temptation on the left. Walk the royal path. So I can't answer your particular case. I don't know what you're talking about, who the bishop you have in mind, right? So that's what I can give you.
So
there's much more, but that's enough.
So the royal path is basically being in communion with the heretics and not doing anything about it. Yeah. Okay, well, that was fun to review. Let's see here. Orthodox Ritualist says, bottom line is he's a hypocrite. He tells everyone else to stay with the heretical bishops, but he will never do the thing he preaches. Yep. Father Boniface says, is Peter Hughes just populist Orthodox? He's trying, but in order to be populist, you have to kind of hold to the actual kind of Orthodox positions on things. He's basically implying that the heresiarchs of world Orthodoxy are perfectly fine, and that's not true. He knows it's not true. Bob says OTP living rent free in his head. He really is. It's kind of funny to watch. Ascendancy says, who knows? Maybe he's in a spiritual battle inside himself between global orthodoxy and true orthodoxy. I just pray he comes to true orthodoxy, but sadly he isn't there yet. There's spike glimmers of hope. One can hope and one can pray. We should all pray for Father Peter. I think he would do more and do more good, even for his own soul, to join the true orthodox. Wretch says it's funny how he calls true Orthodox sectarians when he is his own sect and guru. The guy is just a Protestant. He could go under a right-believing bishop, but he chooses to be under none. Romagata 3807 says, could one stay at Gork and be okay? And my basic answer to that would be no. The good news is that there are hundreds of Greek parishes in the U.S. and Canada that are true Orthodox that you can go to. So, if you want to join a Greek Orthodox archdiocese that's true Orthodox, it already exists. There's quite a few of them. It's just not GoArch. GoArch is a new calendarist ecumenist organization under the Patriarch. I would say, join, there's other, there's true Orthodox Greek cities. Join Metropolitan Demetrius' Synod. He's got parishes all over the place. Or in Canada, there's Metropolitan Moses, and there's I don't know what's happening with Metropolitan Macarius' diocese now that he's reposed, but I'm assuming that is working itself out. So yeah, there's true Orthodox in the U.S. and Canada. You don't have to be there, and that's what I'm saying. But if you want to stay in GoArch itself, you're putting yourself at risk. You're putting yourself at that spiritual risk. So that is something to keep in mind. All right. So again, if anyone has questions, if they have comments, if they want to jump on the stream to ask a question, make a comment, issue a challenge, click the link in the top of the chat. And yep, so far we're trying to get to 150. If we can get to 150 or get to 200 and get to paying bills, I'd be very happy. But as it stands, not quite where we're at right now. So I shall give me a moment. I shall take a quick break, and I'll give you some updates on some other things that we will be doing in coming weeks. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. That took a little longer than I thought. I was trying to just. Oh, Reader John's here. Whoa, welcome, Reader John.
Father bless.
May God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Amen.
So this is let's see what we got in terms of comments. What do we got here? Orthodox Traditionalist says he's not. His real trinity is Paisios, Ephraim, and Porphyrios. Notice how he never uses the scripture apostles as his authority, never quotes them as authorities to prove his position. Very true. God save us says Metropolitan Moses has Ontario to Manitoba. Metropolitan Demetrius is the bishop of the Montreal parish. Okay. Ascendancy says join the GOC of Greece. Easy choice between the Greek synods when it's GOC Kalinikos and Makarios versus Goarch. Absolutely true. Wretch says, I don't think Father Peter would ever become true Orthodox. His whole grift would fall apart, and these types are never actually able to be authentic. I don't know. He does have a lot of quality materials, and I think they would still sell well. I think that.
Great hot nugget.
Yeah, exactly. Join the GOC under Metropolitan Demetrius, says Lindorfer. Yep. Eater of Bugs says, I like my GOC with a side of Cyprianism. Let me see here. Romagata says, talk about all real options, please. Non-commemoration, Acravia, and Economia when you can stay at your church, but be aware Goarch and MP and still be okay. Instead, just say flee, wondering. I thought I did. Leonid said, any thoughts on the GOCM? I'm less convinced that they have grace after they elected a rival archbishop in 2004 and after entering into communion with Hakna after they fell into heresy. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what to think on that. I leave the question open, but as you pointed out, the whole entering into communion with Hakna after Yugoslavia, even though they walked it back and said that totally wasn't why they did that and that it was totally the opposite. So yeah, God save us says nope. Yeah, I would say that I'm going to leave the jury out on that one. They're still doing, from what I understand, the works, and to my understanding, they are no longer okay with Yugoslavia. So hopefully that's done. So yeah, again, it is our live Q&A show. So just remember, if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link in the top of the chat. How are you doing today, Reader?
I was just enjoying you guys talking about Peter here, saying the bishopless wonder.
Yeah, he's a source of entertainment for us all. You know, he doesn't mean to be, but it's amazing how quickly he's kind of gone down the drain in terms of now he just sounds like he's like 5 steps away from saying, okay, guys, just go to the ecumenist bishops. There's nothing else you should do. And it's just terrifying.
I just wonder if there's any I just wonder if there's a consequence for a bishop lying publicly. Or I mean, a priest lying publicly.
Yeah, I mean, he's got very little accountability at this point. I think that's how he likes it, unfortunately. Jeff Dutcher says, well, I know. Yeah. Jeff Dutcher says, well, I know it's not popular. However, I had to join the Matthewites under Metropolitan Kyriakos. Okay. Well, I understand that. You know, I mean, I'm, you know, they're an interesting group. I'm not I wasn't a fan of the original schism. I think their Bishop Sozomenos is he's got a good head on his shoulders, so he's very smart. Let's see. RG says there's no or very few GOCM churches in the area where you can't get to GOC churches in driving distance. I'm not getting into that argument. That just means you have multiple good options that aren't the Greek Archdiocese. So please take them. Leonidas with a member chat says, Jeff Dutcher, where's your parish? Okay. Let me see here. Ascendancy says, pretty sure that GOC Makarios and Roak entered into a communion sphere with Hakna on the basis that they were not in Yugoslavia, and it was more of a word game and broke that after a few years. I'm not aware of Roak actually being in communion with the GOC Makarios, so they did have good relations at one point. RG88 says, is there a real reason why Matthewites and Florinites can't be in communion? There's less of one than there was 30 years ago. There's still personalities involved, but ultimately it's going to have to come up to their hierarchies to say, let's talk this out. That's it. Romagata says, so you don't have to flee then? I think I've said it 3 times. If you're in the Greek Archdiocese, the new calendar Greek Archdiocese under Constantinople, you should flee to the True Orthodox Church of Greece.
Yeah, I think we reached the threshold of preaching heresy bareheaded.
Huh?
I think we've reached the threshold of preaching heresy bareheaded under constant.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Jeff Dutcher says, I do Zoom meetings. Okay, is that the closest parish you have? I mean, where are you that far out from everyone? Or let me see here. Okay.
Might be that dead spot called Colorado.
Yeah, well, something's got to be done. Something has got to be done. But anyway, let's see. We have Canada. There's a lot of GOC people. Depends on what part of Canada you're in, actually. So it just depends because there's a lot of empty spaces. Ascendancy, that's what all name worshippers say. I'm not sure what that means. Lots of people in the southern United States. There's quite a few, but there's quite a number in Canada as well. Tom Katsafanos 89 says, what's the difference between Matthewites and Florinites? There are two different hierarchies that formed in the 1940s for the Matthewites and in the 50s, 60s for the Florinites. So there's separate hierarchies of the True Orthodox of Greece. And they were at loggerheads for, I'd probably say, up until probably the 80s. And there has been conflict since then. Not like real conflict, but the point is there's been theological conflict. Yeah, go ahead.
The St. Chrysostom of Florina, where you get the Florinites from, was the one who ordained Bishop Matthew, where we get Matthew Whites from.
Yeah.
So they're closer. If we look at,
he dropped off. Okay, he dropped off. Well, maybe he'll come back. However, what he was saying was correct. St. Chrysostomos basically did help make Bishop Matthew was one of the first priests of one of the first bishops of the TOC of Greece, and he split in 1937, I want to say, because St. Chrysostomos's confession appeared to be kind of wavering, and so then Bishop Matthew took that as a betrayal, separated off, and single-handedly consecrated bishops. That was corrected by Rocor. Some people accept it, some people don't. But the whole point is that there are different groups of True Orthodox people, and True Orthodox bishops all had their own churches, properties, people, etc. And these corporations were separate. So that's something important to point out. So that's where a lot of the big differences are administrative rather than like differences of faith or different religions or anything like that. Welcome back, Reader John. Hello?
can you hear me now?
Yes. Oh, we can hear you now. Okay, good.
All right. I think I'm on technical issues tonight.
Okay. Well, I did finish that
Yeah.
explanation. So yeah. Let me hear. Also, did y'all hear Brother Nathaniel is cutting off from the Ecumenists? I haven't heard anything about where he's going. Okay. First off, I literally watched Brother Nathaniel. I don't know, was it earlier this year or late last year? Throw all the True Orthodox under the bus. Last I heard of him threatening to leave, it sounded like he was actually going to go back to Protestantism or something. So it doesn't matter to me. Like, Brother Nathaniel's biggest concern is for Brother Nathaniel. So Leonidas with a member chat says the GOC Stephanos has good relations with the GOC Makarios. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, Ascendancy says, to be honest, Stephanos is the only real Matthewite synod and the only one that it seems that can be negotiated a union. The Georgianists are onto something, and Kyrikos thinks he's the last synod left, it seems. Yeah, we've seen that before. Also not in Yugoslavia, so don't know what you're saying, GSU 43. DTC says, Reader John's mic was very choppy. Hopefully it's better this time. Same says Stefanos is probably. Oh, welcome. Hold on. Welcome, Father Boniface.
Benedicite.
Benedicite. Just going through comments. Somebody said, "What about the GOCA?" For the record, I'm in communion with the GOCA, and I happen to like Archbishop Irenaeus of Texas very much. So I highly recommend him and his parishes. Romagata says, "So the splits is what bothers my friends. They keep saying that's why we stay." Well, again, you can always show your friend it's not that scary by going yourself, and that will help. That's the best thing you can do. Otherwise, your friend is looking possibly for excuses to stay where they are. Well, but that's still just excuses is the point. It's not anything more than that. Brother Nathaniel claims he has a bishop on his ex. I don't care. Until he publicly announces who he's part of, etc., I don't care. Just don't care. As far as I'm concerned, he's going to put up a picture of himself in a bishop's robes. I don't care. That's how little I care. That's why one should say. During times of mass heresy, there have always been divisions. That's true. St. Basil on the Holy Spirit, chapter 30, talks about this. It says all those TP, I don't know what that is. True Orthodox Confession of Faith, non-apostolic succession, etc. I was friends with Brother Nathaniel prior to the GOC. I got mad at my World Orthodox priest. He said some unkind words about him, especially since he didn't know him. Yeah, but I do know him, so I have no respect for him. Well, the splits are tough. However, I cannot tolerate the blatant hypocrisy in World Orthodoxy. I feel our bishop's confession of faith is sound. Okay, the church is one. That's true. What are the GOCA's reasons for not being part of the other GOCs? I believe, if I remember correctly, Metropolitan Angelus of Avlona originally separated because he was happy that when the Lamian Synod was the Lamian Synod and they had not, Father Boniface left. God willing, he comes back soon. When the Lamian bishops decided that they were going to make a new Archbishop of Athens, now Reader John disappeared. When the Lamian Synod decided to make another Archbishop of Athens, Metropolitan Angelus didn't want any part in that because then there would be two rival Florinite Archbishop of Athens, and he had no interest in that and wanted to see the original vision of the Lamian Synod was to get things fixed. OTO bishops, okay. Ask them about the splits. Leonardo says, ask them about the splits in World Orthodoxy. Very, very true. There's a lot of those. Hopefully Reader John comes back, but I don't know if he was tired. It's about the confession of faith and practice. GOC, easiest. Okay, very funny. All right. So how are you doing today, Father? Father? He's walking on over someplace. And he disappeared. So if he didn't want a schismatic Archbishop of Athens, why didn't he go to the GOCK? That seems a strange reasoning. Because of the fact that, again, these are living personalities and personages that had individual disputes, etc., on how certain things went. It seems a strange reasoning to us as just regular lay people, or in my case, a priest, saying, why do the bishops do such weird things? There is so much, for lack of a better word, palace intrigue, whether you get to whether in World Orthodoxy, but much less so in True Orthodoxy, but it's still real. Where people, these are still human beings. They're not everyone's going to be like, this is a perfect solution. Let's all just join one synod. It doesn't always work that way. Bishop Angelos, Bishop Nephon, and Bishop Macarius were all candidates to be Archbishop. I don't think Bishop Angelos wanted it, so he didn't. But the whole point is that it's just sometimes things work out badly, for lack of a better word. And so that's all I can say on that. And things are better in the fact that, in the sense that more people globally are now in communion in True Orthodoxy with each other, that there's a lot more that can be done between different groups. But this is a much better, let's see. Okay, that was a dog. I get the personality, but there's no excuse for humbling yourself and preserving unity. I don't think you're in a position, unless you yourself are a bishop working towards restoring communion between True Orthodoxy. I don't think you're in a position to judge. I don't consider myself in a position to judge. Why would I give it to somebody in the comment section? Sorry. So, how are you doing today, Father?
I'm doing all right. Praise the Lord. Just busy as a bee, and working to get this house in shape, and that's
How's
going
that
to take a
going?
while.
How's that going?
Well, a little bit at a time. I mean, I love this house. There's just lots of work to be done, but I'm really happy to be here. I love the area, and I'm happy to be working with the Chamberlain family, and so I don't know. It's just I'm really glad I see the Lord's hand working in many ways, and just busy. Going to have to fix a house, and Lord willing, make some videos as I go along doing it, and just seeing what the Lord has in store.
Glory to God. So that's good. Good to hear that things are going well and things are progressing to the glory of God. And so
yeah, I finally got a refrigerator and a
that's good.
washer and a dryer. And I look for deals on the internet, Facebook Marketplace. I look for deals on building materials or paint. So I do that. And I get some help here and there. I got some people helping me out. One contractor did some work, helped me with some other things. And I have a friend in Lakeland who's looking to come up and maybe help me out. And even sleep over and stuff like that. And this is the electrician who would do some serious work on this house to bring it up to par, and so glory to God. I'm just, and I just really look forward to seeing what the Lord will develop as I, as things grow. So it's neat. It's neat to see it. You just humbling just to trust the Lord and cast all my care upon Him, and just continue to plug away. So,
all right. We got an interesting comment stream here. So, from a God it says, so we can judge the ones who want to stand, try to obtain salvation and communion in Christ in the MP and EP, but the MP and EP are acting in a heretical fashion, which takes you away from Christ. So that's your problem. Now, RG is trying to say, but heresy and schism are equal. So he's playing that game, or she, or whatever. I'm trying to judge, Father. It's just a matter of where it's safe to go, especially with renewed interest in true orthodoxy. Outside of the occasional cult, most places in true orthodoxy throughout the world are safe. This is a silly argument. And you can say right thing, it's judging to discern who or who is not canonical is no worse than recognizing heresy. That's no. That's my point. I don't think that you can make a strong case to say one side or the other whose true orthodox is more canonical or not. That's not in your hands. And more importantly, you know that both sides are heretics. So you're playing a very dangerous game here. Welcome back, Reader John.
Technical issues.
Completely understand. So anyway. You know what I was thinking today is that while I'm reading the liturgy and, I'm chanting the liturgy, I was just thinking, here I am, my background is Protestant and Calvinist and whatever. And I'm just thinking to think that these men threw out the liturgy, threw it out the door, trampled on it, destroyed the books, burnt the books. And then what do they have to replace it with? And let's say for the Calvinists, the Presbyterians, you know what they have to replace for it? Nothing. And so it's like they'll do prayers or Bible memorization, but they don't have the liturgy, which the church was doing, singing the Psalms, chanting the Psalms, and all the prayers and things like that. And they trash it. And so it's like, no wonder they called, Calvin and Luther heretics. Look what they were trashing. It's just amazing to me.
Yeah, it's amazing when we, especially in the West, to see how much we've lost. But in any case, we'll see.
And the ecumenical movement seeks to placate these heretics, which means that they're going to water down all their theology and all their liturgy. And so, can people understand that and think about that? And what the effect is that a loss of spirituality, a loss of spiritual power, a loss of virtue, to go into their camps where they argue, where the egos of the pastors are, super inflated. Like the book of Galatians, the works of the flesh are evident, factions, arguments, lots of immorality and stuff like that. And so it's like, look at what's going on. And it's amazing how people tolerate. Look at the Roman Catholic Church, how their congregations tolerate the corruption of their leadership. And it's just amazing. So that's what they're asking for with all this, not only the theological problems, but the moral problems and the practical problems of how they operate, their praxis, and the people just ignore it and just keep on going. That's the spirit of America right now. It's the spirit of what's going on.
Yeah, unfortunately true. Let me just see here what else is going on. Give me just one moment. Checking the cafe because
my lighting's going off and on. Let's see here.
Let me see. Noticing in the cafe, there's some commentary, and they're still going on the whole Andre. Sava put a defense of himself. We all know Sava here, and he put a defense of himself on the cafe. Apparently, people have been accusing him of, the name worshiping thing, and he's giving some answers. He's mostly, I feel, he's trying more to defend Archbishop Andre, and I feel like Archbishop Andre is a grown man and can do that himself. So that's my view. But let me see here. Wretch said, modern people think submission to evil and making peace with it is humility. Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's wrong. It's perverse, and it's not the way we should think. But unfortunately, that's kind of where we are in this day and age. And so let me see here. We are now in the 45th minute of the second hour. Trying to reach the goal here, and there isn't too much time left to do it. But we're trying to reach a goal of at least 200. If we make 75% at 150, that'd be great. We are currently at 54, and so the goal is 146. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone who has supported and remind everyone to help keep the lights on. Support us by subscribing or donating at NFTU.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR, or on Give, Send, Go. Just look in the description. So just don't forget us. It is the holiday season, so I do understand people, people's expenses are, stretched tight. Ours too, and it's cold, so I completely understand it. But in any case, as we get towards the end of the year, one thing I should mention is we're going to kind of look back, probably next week or so, towards what we have managed to accomplish and put together. For those who don't know, I have new articles on NFTU, and it's going to be a regular thing where we're going to see both free and members-only articles, as well as we're going to be kind of working more on how our YouTube presence works. And so, yeah, we've got a lot going on. This was an interesting year, very fruitful year for True Orthodoxy. It was a fruitful year for us too. I mean, just not financially, but it was still a fruitful year. New grandchildren, and so I mean, I can't complain. I can. I'm just not going to, because I think that's tacky and groveling. But in any case, whatever you can do to help, that's kind of what we're always trying to see if we can ask for, if a helping hand to continue. But as for the book, with the overview of Orthodoxy in the 20th century, my hope is that it is done by Nativity, our Nativity. Hopefully before that, but I will probably make an electronic edition, which will be available free for those who are members paid members of NFTU, or if you're a member of the channel, you can request it from me and I can give a link. But I'll also be producing it in a book form, which is physical, so it costs money. And if you want to purchase it, that will be available across, whether it's on NFTU is most likely where it's going to be sold, or on Amazon. So that's what we're going to aim for. So we've got a few things to go to wrap up 2026. Okay. And we'll see how that goes. We will see how it goes. But again, it's been an interesting few weeks, and I have a couple of things in the works that I'm also working on video wise that I think you might find interesting. So we're gonna speed towards the end of the year and keep on bringing more stuff in, and of course we're always looking for debates. I haven't heard back from any of the people that have recently requested a debate, and I'm hoping that will happen soon enough, but we'll see. We're going to keep doing our live Q&As till the end of the year, and I'm going to try to get more in during the week. It's just been particularly tricky to get things done that way, but we'll see. We will see what happens. So, in any case, that's what I've got for today. So, if there are looking for questions, we've got about 12 minutes to go. Barring no sudden massive donations, I mean, someone could drop $100 randomly and then we'd be here another half hour. But, either way, the point is that we're at kind of, we did our review of the Peter Here's video. We'll probably clip that, and I'm sure there will be more stuff going on, and we'll be in the middle of it and we'll watch it. So I think this week we'll probably be talking about the decline of Orthodox ethos and how they're finally just admitting that they're just a front group for regular plain old ecumenism, and that they're not seriously challenging anyone in power. And as a matter of fact, they're craven to it. So that's where I am. Was there anything either you, Father Boniface, or you, Reader John, wanted to talk about? Because we got a few minutes.
Good question. I was just I went to buy some flour to make some prosphora,
Okay.
And I looked at King Arthur, and it said, bread flour. But then I baked it and made it into the proper form. But then when I set it aside for a couple hours, and then I smelled it, I said, this doesn't smell normal. And I looked at the ingredients again, and it had wheat and an enzyme. And so I looked up the enzyme. I forgot the name of it, Aspar or something like that. And I forget the name. It begins with an A. And I looked up that enzyme, and it said that of people who have worked in the bread factory, 30% became allergic due to a skin prick test that they did, and 30% of the people got allergic to that particular enzyme, which they add in the bread. And I was thinking, they want to increase the expandability of the bread, And so anyway, and it's like, why don't you just leave the bread alone and let it be bread? Because it's an additive to the wheat, which is wrong when you're making communion bread. Prosphora, you can't add anything outside of just wheat, salt, and water, and yeast. Yeah. And so I'm going to take it back. I'm going to say I don't want it. It tastes terrible.
You have to be careful with things labeled bread flour because they always have additives.
Yeah.
You always want to make sure it's 100% whole wheat flour.
It said it was organic, mind you.
Wow. Yeah. So King Arthur's been compromised.
Yep. That sometimes you have to really pay attention to the labels really carefully.
I sometimes I'm in a hurry and I just there it is, grab it and grab and go.
Yeah, King Arthur also, I think they've gone woke, so that's something to keep in mind. But
not the king.
Ascendancy 7 says, if I give you $1,000, will you go till 2 a.m.? I would if I had the spare change, Father. I will be honest, if somebody puts up $1,000 when I have a $200 goal, that's 5 times the maximum. I don't care if I'm just going to sit there quietly and just wait for questions. Yeah, I would do it. Because that would solve my immediate needs. So, Eater of Bugs says, communion with heretics equals sharing in their heresy. All MP are heretics, either by confession or maintaining with those who do. Correct. Debt to Compromise says, even better, get local flowers. That is true. There are locally milled flowers in a couple of stores in my area, but it just depends on where you live also, because sometimes there isn't local flour.
Yeah. You got to find the right shops, and it might be 30 miles away. Now, I have to go through Amazon. Bob's Red Mill looks pretty good, but I got to, get it through Amazon.
I just, believe it or not, I just use Goya whole wheat when I can find it because it's simple, it's clean, it's only got the main ingredient of the wheat flour. Gabriel Michael 43 says organic, made of which organs? That to Compromise says I can potentially get windmill ground flour. LOL. I believe it because you have a lot of windmills there. That's actually fancy. You might get charged a little extra for the windmill, but
rubbing it in, huh?
He lives in a pretty part of Michigan, so that's
cool.
Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, last chance, people, because we're going down in the last 5 minutes for questions, unless something magical happens, which has happened on this show before. Sometimes people are like, keep the party going, let's go, boom, and throws down a donation. But at this rate, we are now currently at $54. So we are basically $96 short of keeping on for a half hour, which means, or 146 short of making the goal. So soon we will be playing that ever so sad sound effect, and Reader John has came right in time to complete it because for some reason I am too incompetent to put an MP3 of a previous recording. That's pretty.
It's always better live, Father, right?
Yeah. Let me think here, but outside of that, what's this? Oh, we got another comment. I've just been researching Irish Wolfhounds and Alfa Romeos for fun. LOL. Well, Irish Wolfhounds, I remember, are dogs, but aren't Alfa Romeos cars, or are there also Alfa Romeos called?
That's a car, isn't it? Wolfhound, an Irish Wolfhound's a big dog. That's a very big dog.
All of a sudden, I don't know what kind of messages Death to Compromise sending out here. He's like, I got the money. Yeah, they got the giant Wolfhound and the Italian sports car. I'm like, okay.
Or maybe the Wolfhound is chasing the sports car.
Yeah. Hey, did you see what's happening over in Britain with the farmers?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's crazy. There's they're rising up and they're tired of it. And it's
they're tired of it. They're losing their farms. Yeah, they're losing their livelihood.
And this is happening throughout the EU. This really needs to be protested and stopped, even if it's, frankly, if it requires physical standing up, which is what they're getting to at this point.
It's coming after being in
Europe.
Their
back's being pushed against the wall. But you know what? I look at it this way. When this world has been aborting, killing children, and they have a blind eye to it, and they're apathetic, then the Lord's, going to say, hey, maybe there's a time for a judgment now where you need to fix your priorities. And so you kill children, I'll kill your economy, I'll kill your jobs, and maybe you need to look at righteousness and seek the Lord's face again. And so, and that's not just Europe, that's America too. So, it's on its way everywhere, but they're hitting it first. But it's a major problem. And the people need to repent, cry out to God. And if they don't do that, they're going to just get more of the same. And they got leadership that could care less about its people. They just want to please the people who own them,
Yeah.
Because Britain is in serious debt, and they want to go after the farmers to get their lands, which is a revenue, and they'll sell those lands for pennies on the dollar to foreign interests. So it's an actual hostile move to take over the nation. And so
It's the same for the European Union, though. When I was over there, I was talking to some locals when I was over there in Thanksgiving, and they were talking about how their middle class is shrinking at a very rapid rate, and they're losing their farmers, and just the poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer. I was like, well, that sounds familiar.
Something needs to be done before this gets worse, and we have to stop the globalists from doing it.
Yeah.
Well, and our president, he's the same thing. You know, he would take loans out and then return the loans for pennies on the dollar. He wouldn't pay back his loans on full.
Well, he's
And
really
so
yeah. To be fair, he's establishment in populist clothing, though.
Yeah. And let's see, Gabriel Michael here says, I'll ask in my church what brand of flour they use. Our parish made the best prosper in the New York City area. Andrew Cameron says, I had flour with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Oh, no.
Florian Malone says, how's everyone tonight? Well, it looks like we're about to go home. Eater of Bugs says, we've got the best Prospera, great Prospera. Nobody makes Prospera like this. I mean, it's unbelievable. Reconquista says, we ate hummus and falafel, but it gave me diarrhea. Whoops, wrong chat. Oh, okay. Socrates says the move against farming is to control food supply. Whoever controls that has control of the population. Very antichrist of them. Absolutely true. And again, with that, we are now in the 28th minute. So it's time to just admit the truth. There is nothing else has come in. So
where's that offer of $1,000 to 2 o'clock, man?
I think it was a theoretical 1,000.
It was a hypothetical 1,000.
Yeah.
It's a Gnostic 1,000.
All right. So in that case, unfortunately, we did not make our goal. I'm confident we'll find some way to pay that, but hopefully I will be asking again probably later in the week. Eater of Bug says 6'7". Don't even try that here. It will not work on me. And let's see here. So let's get to that. And it's time to,
losing.
Okay, and with that, was the form of 1,000 in that minute from the physical world yet? Okay, well, thank you to everyone, to our guests, to people who came in earlier, like I forget the voice of guy, but he had questions. Of course, Father Boniface and Reader John are always here to be helpful, and we really appreciate them because they kind of help fill in the brains when I don't have any. And to our listeners, to those who had asked questions and had comments, and to those who support our mission, support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net or on GiveSendGo. We remember all of you in our prayers. We thank you all for the support for NFTU. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And then I'm seeing Matt, you here, Barnold. Okay, Barnold. Buy silver before the dollar dies. Never a bad idea. God bless. Good night. Thank you so much. May God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And through the prayers of the Holy Fathers of Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us.